Hi, and welcome to a video which is about how to get started on Ars Magica, as requested. I've created a super flat world where the sun's sadly going down on, and I've got a table here with an attached inventory which will have everything we need to get started. So, let's have a look at what you will need. I imagine you may want to pause and screenshot, but you'll see here that you need wooden planks and slabs, cobblestone, smooth stone, stone brick stairs, 5 iron blocks, glass blocks, coal, paper, snowball, arrows, cereblossom, iron spade, iron pickaxe, string, leather, blue topaz, torch, feathers, books, ink sacks, sticks, vintium dust. So with all this, you should be able to make the various things required. Okay, first things first, we'll grab just a block, doesn't really matter what, and make an item frame. Okay, so we also need a book, and now we need to find a lake of liquid Ethereum. Here's one I prepared earlier. So what you need to do here is have just a raised block. If there's one there naturally, that's fine, but I'll place one next to the lake. Place your item frame on it, and then place your book into the item frame. And stand back and watch the fun. That was kind of snazzy. As you'll see, it says that I've now unlocked the secrets of the arcane. I have a purple book called the Arcane Compendium, which allows me to design and build these various things. It is a guide to Ars Magica, which is quite complicated, and like the Thaumonomicon for Thaumcraft, is very helpful. So you can always go back to that for references. Right, so in order to make your first spell, you need to build 3 structures. The Arcane Compendium does show you how to build these, but I'll show you here as well. The first structure you need to build is called the Oculus. It requires 3 stone bricks, a glass block, 2 pieces of coal, and a blue topaz. So let's build that. Done. Easy as that. Now, the Oculus is what you use to gain your skills, which you use to develop different parts of spells. So there it is. As you see, it's a creepy eye that follows you wherever you go. Now, once you've built it, you walk up to it, you right click, and you get this screen here. This is your spell tree. It shows the different spells you can learn. You have 3 different types of points to spend. Blue are the basic, green intermediate, and red advanced. There's 3 pages at the moment. Offensive spells to attack people, defensive spells, protection, and utility spells, which are actually probably the most useful at the early stages. So at this point, what I will suggest that you learn, you've got 3 points to start off with, is projectile, and then go to utility, and then touch, and dig. And that'll be your 3 points spent. Okay, can't make a spell yet, we still need 2 more structures built. So the next structure you need to build is called the inscription table. The inscription table is what you use to design your spell, and you create your spell recipes using it. It can be upgraded over time, but this is the basic one. It requires wooden slabs, wooden blocks, a torch, a feather, and something called spell parchment. Now, spell parchment is quite easy to make. You just get sticks and paper, and there's your spell parchment. I'll make a whole bunch of them. You will need quite a bit of it, so you might as well make a decent stack. Now, to make the table, 3 slabs, 2 blocks, spell parchment in the middle, your torch, and your feather. And there's your inscription table. It will always place end on, so if you want it next to the oculus, you'd stand here, and there it is. Now when you right click on the inscription table, you get an achievement. It shows you what you've learnt in the oculus. So I've got the shapes of projectile and touch, and the effect of dig. It also has a search engine, because when this all fills up and you get lots and lots and lots of them, in order to find the spell component you're after, you can search through them that way. Now I'll show you how to use this in a second. Now the final piece you have to build is much larger. So this is for gaining your skills, which give you spell components. This is for assembling spell components into a recipe. And the final part is to take the recipe and turn it into an actual spell that you can cast. And that's quite a large structure. You will need a 5x5 area for it. I tend to do it outside just because it's so large. Now here's the structure that needs to be built, the crafting altar. It can be made of different materials, and this in the guide is really, really helpful for showing you the construction. It shows you from the ground up all the different components you need, and also the different materials you can make it out of. Different materials will give different quality. Over time, as you get access to more expensive materials, you upgrade it and upgrade it, which allows you to make more and more powerful spells. So, what do you need in order to make it? Well, we'll start off by grabbing our stone bricks, our stone brick stairs, iron block. We will need a stick. We will need a cobblestone. We will need Vintium dust. And we will need some stone. Also, we're going to need 3 oak slabs, and I believe it's 2 blocks. No, just 1 block, and that constructs a lectern in a shape like that, so you need that. The other thing we need to make here is a lever, which is very simple. Also, we need to make something called magic wall, which is quite simple. Just get 1 stone, Vintium either side, and that gives 16 of them. Quite handy and very pretty, so useful for various things. The final thing we need is the heart of it all. That. The crafting altar's brain. Alright, we now have all the components required to build the crafting altar. So let's get stuck into building it. I will set it into the ground just out of habit. I like it to be flush with whatever courtyard or whatever else I'm building. In fact, you probably don't need to see this digging. Alright, so I dug a 5x5 hole. In this hole, you take 1 of your iron blocks and you put it in the center. And then you take your stone bricks. If you have access to nether brick from the word go, use nether brick. Nether brick's one of the best materials you can use for this. But assuming you're right at stage 1, you use stone brick. And you get a platform like that. So next we start to build the sides up. And depending on where you are, you can then put the lectern in place. Yep. Right, so let's build the sides. Like so. And now we can put the lever in. Right there. That's good. Next we need to start to get getting a bit creative, so I'll just get up to height using some dirt. Okay, and now we grab some stairs and the iron blocks. So the iron blocks go on the corners, and your stairs go around the edges. Almost looks like a little garden pagoda. Okay. Next we need some more stairs in here to give it more of an archway look. Like so. We're getting there. Getting there. Next we have the magic walls, which go up the sides. And finally, the keystone. So this is the completed crafting altar. With this, we can actually make spells. You'll see that the symbol here is kind of merged into the stone. That shows that it's put together correctly. Alright, now how to make a spell. So I'm going to teach you one of the most useful starting level spells. I use it heavily, and as you get more advanced, you just upgrade and make better versions of it because you just can't beat it. So the first thing you need is some books, ink sacs, and feathers. I don't know why I opened the chest. I keep forgetting it auto accesses. And you make books and quills. They don't stack, unfortunately. These are used to record your spell recipes in. So let's make a spell. We go to our inscription table, drag our book and quill in here, and now we pick what type of spell we want. We want a projectile spell, so we drag that into that box there. Now, what the projectile will do is determined by what you put into the grey bar. So if I put that in here, it means you'll get projectile dig. Now, for argument's sake, if I had touch in there instead of projectile, but that's not as cool as being able to shoot a blast that knocks a hole in things. So, projectile dig. And now we just need to give a name for it. Diglet. So you've got projectile, dig, unfinished spell recipe. You click on it, and then you have a recipe. Now, if you right-click while holding the book, it will show you your recipe. So shape group 1, we only have one shape, it's projectile. And combination, dig. It then will give you a materials list of what is needed in order to make it. You'll see it requires runes, a blank rune, an orange rune, iron spade, iron pickaxe, and various other bits and pieces. And also it has an elemental affinity. In Thorncraft, the more you use one element, the more powerful the element that you're using will be for you, but also the weaker you are against it. So if you use earth an awful lot, you'll get really tough and good with earth spells, but you'll be vulnerable to earth-based things. Sorry if that's hard to understand. Let's go get our ingredients. So we need an iron spade, iron pickaxe, snowball, arrow, vintium dust. What else did it want? Spell parchment. Runes. We need to show you how to make runes. So let's grab some cobblestone. Now, to make runes, you take your cobblestone and do it in a pattern like that, and then one in the corner. Some people say it's like a fish. And that's how you make runes. So we want a lot of runes. Make a good, healthy stack of runes. Because these you will use a bit. Whenever you make a spell, you'll use at least 2 runes. Now the runes we've made here in our stack of 20 are blank. Now every spell, what triggers the starting of the spell creation process is a blank rune. So you will need blank runes. But for this spell, what we need is an orange rune. So to make an orange rune, you combine your rune with dye, and there's an orange rune. So, I think we have what is needed to start making a spell. Let's check the recipe. I think we're good. Alright, so to make the spell, we walk up to our crafting altar that we made earlier, with the recipe in hand, put the recipe onto the lectern, and it will now be ready to rumble. You take your blank rune to get things started, and you drop it in the center. You'll see magical runes start to fly around in the air. Also, the book will glow and tell you what ingredient you need to insert next. In this case, Vintium dust. So you just take that ingredient, throw it into the middle. Now it wants an arrow. There's the arrow. Now it wants the snowball. There you go. Here's your snowball. Orange rune. Spade. Pickaxe. Finally, the spell parchment. This will be the last part of every spell, and once you've done it, you'll get your spell. There's my spell. Okay, so how do you use the spell? What you do is the first time you use it, you right-click, and this will appear. It allows you, again, one more chance to rename it, and also to pick an icon of what will appear in your spellbook and on your screen when you use it. So since it's a digging spell, I will choose a suitably diggy looking thing. Maybe it's a starting one. Right. So now, if I right click while highlighting that spell, this will plow through most things quite happily. Except bedrock. It will not touch bedrock. If you later add an area of effect to this, you can smash huge amounts of rock and soil and things out of the way. It's very powerful and very useful. You'll also see that by casting it, I've gone up to level 2. Now, because I'm level 2, it means that I have another blue point to spend in the Oculus. Now, what I want to learn this time... Oh, this shows affinity. My affinity for Earth is slightly higher because I've been using an Earth spell. I want to learn light as the next one. So you click on light, and you've got light. Right. Now, we're going to start building multiple spells here, so we're going to need somewhere to store them all. So I'm going to show you how to make a spellbook. Spellbook is quite simple. All you need is 2 leather, either side, like that, your paper in the middle, and your string for binding. And that will give you a basic spellbook. Now, to customize spellbooks, you can dye them. I figure you would want a nice pretty green one. So there, spellbook plus lime green dye equals bright green spellbook. Now you'll see that now holding the spellbook in my hand, I have an extra hotbar in my top left-hand corner. If I shift and right-click, I go into the spellbook and you can see that hotbar, as well as extra spaces to store your spells. So I'll put my dig spell in here. And now by holding the spellbook, I've got my dig spell. And by using the scroll while holding shift, I can scroll through different spells. At the moment I only have the one. Let's fix that. So, book and quill into the middle. We want projectile, and we want light. And the spell is Mage Light. This is one of the handiest spells throughout whatever level you are, you will use the spell. It is so useful. It's just incredibly, incredibly useful. So, let's see what ingredients we need to collect for this. We need blank rune, Vintium dust, arrow, snowball. So that's the same kind of projectile stuff. We need white rune, Sarah blossom, glowstone dust, Vintium torch, and the spell parchment. So, we need a white rune. So to make a white rune, you just get a blank rune plus bone meal, boom, white rune. And while we're here, let's make a bunch of different coloured runes. So there's a lime green rune. There's a red rune. So yeah, lapis blue rune. Different runes, easy enough to make. Make a decent stockpile of them. Oh, I've got an infinity orb. I'll show you that in a second. One thing we need here is a Vintium torch, which is worthwhile me showing you how to make. That's all they are. Just instead of coal in a torch, you use Vintium dust. I'll use them to light up spell altar. They have kind of a neat sparkly effect. Let's check my ingredients. Cereblossom. Need Cereblossom. Okay. So, to clear the old one out of here, you shift right click to remove the old recipe. Now I would store the old recipes somewhere in case you die or something unpleasant happens and you lose your spell book full of all your spells. At least you'll be able to go back home, grab the recipes and remake them. So then you put the new one here, just check, yep, let's go. Blank rune. Vintium dust. Arrow. Snowball. White rune. Cereblossom. Glowstone dust. Bugger. Right. Sorry, forgot my glowstone dust. Glowstone dust. Vintium torch. And finally, to finish it off, a spell parchment. Pick it up. Right click on it. Oh damn it, the sun's rising. And there we go, Mage Light. At the moment, I don't have enough mana to cast. But as you see, it creates these little glowing balls, which illuminate the same as a torch. And again, we can load this into our spellbook. And now if I shift right click, I can switch between the two spells. Oh, sorry, I'm holding shift and move. Ars Magica is designed for, as you level up, you basically get access to more and more stuff. You can see I'm now level 3, the blue number in the center there. The more components you get, the more you can experiment. So I've leveled up. You only get it on even numbers, so I'm 3, so it doesn't count. Here's your infinity orb. So to use an infinity orb, all you do is just hold it in your hand once you've done all the stuff, so you're officially a mage. You right click and you gain a blue skill point. Go into your Oculus and you have another point you can spend. So I'll grab Feather Touch, which is the same as having Silk Touch for mining. I should point out that there's these hidden spells here. If you put together the right random combination of components, you unlock these. These are more powerful than your average spell, and they're quite cool. This one in particular is quite vicious. I've got it on one of the games. Star Strike. You basically pull a meteor out of the sky. It's very slow. On fast-moving targets, it's no good, but it does enormous amounts of damage. Alright, so if you followed through with me, you should now have the ability to dig and to create light sources, which is all very, very handy stuff. The more you use it, the more you'll level up, the more spells you'll get access to, and the more powerful those spells will be. Yeah. Alright, I hope it's been helpful, and yeah, have fun.